Bunch of stocks that you have to keep on your radar because of the numbers that came over the last 48 hours and for various other reasons. But technically, what will you keep on your radar? Dr. cknarayan of Growth Avenues joins us now to tell us precisely that. Good morning, Dr. Narayan. Thank you very much for joining us. First up, what's the call on the Nifty itself? No two ways, you will have to start with long positions?
Yeah, I guess that is the kind of default position that we have been maintaining for many months now. It's been interrupted by some very mild corrective moves, but then the market seems to be actually jumping back with redoubled vigor. So clearly there are lots of buyers willing and waiting at lower levels, just awaiting a chance for them to get back into this market. So clearly the default position is to be long this market. This is true also for the Bank Nifty and has been until recently, at least for the CNXIT. So all the indices are firing at the moment.
All right, Dr. Narayan, good morning. So what are the stocks that you would be advising a long position in today?
Well, I think we'll have to be very stock specific right now because other than very, very strong US markets, which we are probably getting influenced by, and the fact that the FI money is now resumed pouring back into our markets, there isn't any specific major event that could really put a dampener of sorts on the markets. So therefore we'll have to concentrate on the current crop of let's say corporate earnings, and there it's a little bit of a mixed story, and I think one would have to take it on a very stock specific basis, and I think some stocks like HDFC Bank, which we were discussing earlier, might have a little bit of an issue. So probably the money would shift a little out of HDFC Bank and go into the other private sector banks like perhaps Kotak Bank and Axis Bank, which are really giving it the charge on the upside. So from the banking, I would probably look at these two. I think pharma is on a great wicket year to date. That has been the best returning sector. And in pharma, I think maybe Sun Pharma, Ranbaxy on the verge of an upside breakout. But we do have small news in Ranbaxy which might put a mild break. We need to see how much that news is already in the market. I think Aurobindo Pharma again has a very decent set of numbers. It's already beyond 1,000 level, and that would bring in fresh dominoes into the stock. So from Pharma, I would look to pick Aurobindo Pharma, but with a stop at about 990. I think FMCG seems to be a bit stalled, but in auto, I see Tata Motors making a determined effort to take on the long-term supply area at about 542. It's very near that. If it were to succeed, I think we could probably look at some more gains in Tata Motor. But it's a kind of breakout situation, and we should be trading only on a breakout. On the flip side, in auto, Mahindra seems to be under a bit of a pressure. So we could probably do a kind of a pair up over there, slightly short in Mahindra, looking for 1225 to 1240 on that. So I think a bit of a mixed picture here. Look at both sides of the coin.
Okay, I was expecting, Dr. Narayan, that you will mention Axis Bank. It's been making 52-week, I think, all-time highs. Any thoughts at all?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I think if you look at private sector banks, they've all been charging ahead. Axis has been at the head of the advance. But in terms of consistency compared to Axis, Kotak is a lot more resilient during the rises, whereas Axis is a little bit of a trader's delight, no doubt. It goes both ways. So I do like Axis. I do like IndusInd Bank. I think ICICI Bank too is giving it a charge. So the private sector bank space is where there is a lot of action currently. So Axis, Kotak and ICICI are all in the bag for buyers.
Okay, and what about the PSU banks? I mean, SBI usually takes the lead, and there's Bank of Baroda close behind. Any picks, any buys in this space, long positions?
I think State Bank, of course, needs to be at the top of the table, and that's been charging upward. And Bank of Baroda, if I'm not mistaken, has a result due out today, perhaps, so the market might be watching that. But the pattern on Bank of Baroda is pretty decent. If it were to go past about 870, I think it'll probably add on another 50, 70 points to that. So among the lot, I think that is the best. The other public sector banks are, some of them are on the boundary line. Some of them came up to the boundary line on Wednesday, but did not find enough willing buyers. I'm talking about stocks like Syndicate Bank, Can Bank, etc. I think Can Bank results will be a dampener. So I think PSU banks are largely following in the wake of the wave set by the private sector banks. And the bank nifty is also sort of rallying up because State Bank is contributing a bit right now, which it was not doing so earlier.
The entire metals pocket saw a lot of shorting activity on Wednesday. JSPL, Sesa Sterlite, NMDC. What would you do with these names? Any incremental shorting that you would expect?
I would definitely agree with that statement because they all rallied, but that rally lacked conviction in terms of volume as well as in terms of momentum. More importantly, momentum. I think when an overall sector is down, the rallies need to sustain momentum for them to continue, and that is what has been missing in all the metal stocks. I think this is true for Hindalco, this is true for Tisco, and this is true for Sesa Sterlite, etc. So I think even Hindustan Zinc, for that matter, could not walk up an upward traction. So I would definitely look to short some Tisco, Hindalco for sure. I would look for shorting opportunities in these, even if they, I mean, I just want them to be a little soft for me to take the decision to short it.
Okay, some mid-cap picks, I mean, you did speak about the Aurobindos and a whole host of others when you spoke about sectors. But say media, is there anything in Z or any of the other sectors that we left out?
I think Z is forming very decisive and very impressive pattern on the chart since quite some time. You know, it was about 280, 290. That used to be a range where it used to get severely stalled in the past. Ever since the stock has got past about 310 or thereabout, there has been a very strong consistency in the buying pattern. So clearly, what the charts tell me is that larger players are very convinced of the play in Z. And I think it would not surprise me to see Z at about 450 rupees by, let's say, December or so. So I think that's a very strong wicket that the stock is on, and every dip in the stock is a buy. I mean, in addition to this MSCI thing, should probably boost it up a bit. So I would be a strong bull in Z on every dip.
Okay. All right, Dr. Narayan, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining us and giving us those ideas. So that's what the technical expert is advising.